Good morning. Hi, Rachel Wilson.
Hi, Melinda Clark. How are you?
Welcome to the OC, bitches.
Welcome to the OC, bitches. We have another episode today.
I'm very excited about today's episode. The Perfect Couple, episode 10. So many things to talk about. But so our guest today, it's the endlessly fascinating Bonnie Somerville. She's an actor and a singer. She is the host of her own podcast called Second Act. You may remember her from a few shows like Friends and Blue Bloods. She is in the upcoming Heels and the new Nash Bridges reboot. But here in the OC world, we know her as the whip-smart Rachel Hoffman, who makes a play for Sandy in his new job at Partridge, Savage, and Con. Welcome, Bonnie Somerville. How are you?
Hi, guys. I'm well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on with us. We're so happy you're here.
Back to the OC, bitches.
That's right. It has been a minute.
It has been a minute. Just like it was just like like last year, basically. watching those episodes, I was like, I want to die. I'm so old.
Oh my gosh,
my God.
Please. You look incredible.
Babies.
We were babies.
Babies.
It's true. It was a long time ago. I think the first season was 18 years ago? Is that what we have said? Was it? I mean, I'm not a math wizard. But
Yes, 18 years ago.
I can't even believe that. I can't believe that.
I know. When I was, looking at your IMDb, honey, you have had such a long and varied resume. And it really seems like you've never stopped working.
But you also have a podcast, Second Act.
I do have a podcast. I'm going to try to get you girls on my podcast.
How fun. So tell us about it.
Speaking of, thank you for saying I never stopped working. That's actually the opposite of true, but maybe it looks like that, which I appreciate. But part of it was Second Act came from, kind of hitting the skids in life and big breakup and, turning 40 and no baby and, didn't get picked up with a show and just everything came to a screeching halt. And I was just like such a down time in my life. And my girlfriend was like, Bonnie, you just need to find your second act, man. Like, come on, get back in there. So I talk to people about those situations in their lives, like whether it's a divorce or a death or how do you pick yourself up and start over again? Like, because we never run out of acts, right? I mean, we're actors as well. We have a million of them, but even personally and professionally and, financially, people that lose everything and start a new business at 50. There's so many stories that are so inspiring. So that's what it's about. And I interview all different types of people.
I think our business lends itself to that. I mean, essentially as actors, no job lasts forever. I would have loved the OC to go on longer, but at the time I was 38 and it was like, that pressure to get a new job. And it's like, we're gypsies. Okay, wait, I have to do a job in Canada because that's what I got offered and I have to move, or all of these things that feel so stressful all the time. And there's never, ever that absolute consistency in what we do. And it feels like sometimes as a mom, as an actress, as we get older, the more stressful and more anxiety we get from this industry. And I appreciate your podcast. I got on the treadmill and listened this morning. I listened a couple weeks ago, and I really find it inspiring because I definitely feel like I'm in a second act as well, or a third or a fourth.
Yeah. You have to, how many stories are the people that I look up to and I'm like, oh my God, Margaret Atwood wrote Handmaid's Tale when she was 40. Like that was her first novel. Like, you read those stories and you're like, it's because our business makes, especially women,
right,
especially when we started, it's, but by 25, I thought, oh, my career's over because I haven't had an Oscar or I'm done. I mean, it was just ridiculous pressure.
Yeah. Well,
and it never ends.
The ageism
even
thing.
Personally, divorces and losses. It's like, it ain't over, it's never over. So
that's a great mentality.
I hope I'm helping people feel that way because I needed that at the time. I need it now. I
think everybody can use that, right? But it's such a better mindset to have, and the age thing, especially like you're saying, with women in our business. But like you said, she wrote the book at 40. I mean, it never ends. And you're constantly
first-time directors now.
Yeah. Incredible. Well, I think I love what you're doing.
Yeah, and I just want people, because I've been depressed and I've had all this stuff happen to me, and I'm like, you just got to be inspired to pick yourself back up,
Yeah.
So
we all have a certain perception of the world, and sometimes our perception isn't necessarily always the reality. And one of the things I've learned is having expectations or living in the future really doesn't service me. Doing what's literally right in front of me, which right now is talking to you two and having this conversation, is what's important. And that really helps get to the next, and that helps me enjoy the journey.
Right. It's not an easy practice.
I'm really working on that too.
Yeah.
Being present. That's not my gift.
I think it's a challenge
it's either
for
the
most
past.
people.
Yeah. It's like I'm, meditating now, and I'm just like, nope, stay here. Just stay right here. Just today is all we have. It's hard.
Very.
Well, can I ask you about heels too? Because I looked that up and it sounds fascinating. And tell us a little bit about this, because it sounds like your character is bigger than life. And I just was interested in asking you about
It's
this.
awesome. I swear to God, it's a show about a group of brothers in small town Georgia that have a wrestling league. They wanted to be pro wrestlers, but they never made it. It is batshit crazy. They have real ex-wrestlers on it. The guy that plays my boyfriend, Ricky Rabies, is CM Punk, who was like, I didn't know him because I didn't really care about wrestling. I mean, I knew Hulk Hogan when I was a kid, but he was huge. Like, he was huge. He's got like millions and millions of followers. So each week they have real athletes playing these wrestlers. So like the stunts are outrageous. The guys are all in like, it's the first show I've ever seen where the men are in tights and like tighty undies and the women are not, which is awesome. They're just like oiled up and like naked and fighting all the time. And I play Vicky Rabies, his girlfriend, and she's pure Southern white trash. And I never get to play those roles. So I was like, I want to be her forever. Like the nails are out to here and the hair. And she's just huge, big personality. And I loved it so much. I was like, I just want to play her forever. It's really good.
And well, obviously, I knew you before because of Mona on Friends.
Mona, talk about reunions. Like that's how did that go by so fast?
Oh my goodness!
Oh my God!
But I always loved it. My grandmother's name is Mona, so when you were on there, and Ross is always
that's
like
so
Mona.
Funny.
Anyway.
It's so funny. I remember when I got that job and I read the script and I was like, Mona, like what kind of name is Mona? But
not a common name, is it?
What was wrong with Mona?
Yeah, exactly. But that must have been fun. Do you feel like, what role do you get recognized for the most?
Mona,
for sure.
It never ends. I swear it's especially now with Netflix, and my stepkids are 15 and 12 and their friends are obsessed with Friends and they wear Essential Perk t-shirts, and it's bizarre. Like these kids weren't born and they're obsessed with Friends, and it's all over the world. Like the messages never stop every day on Instagram, on the Instagram.
It will never end.
You guys both have something in common. Zach Braff, right?
Yeah.
So you were dating him, I believe, on the OC.
During the OC, were you dating Zach?
I was dating Zach during the OC. Yes.
You guys were together for a long time, weren't you?
When nobody knew who he was. Yeah. We were together almost 2 years.
Okay. Yeah.
We broke up right before the movie came out in the theaters.
Ah, got it. And you're on the soundtrack because you're also a singer.
I'm on the soundtrack. Yeah, that was awesome.
It's so
And then
cool.
did you do The Last Kiss?
Yes.
We were broken up then. Yeah.
Yeah, he was with, I believe he was dating Mandy Moore at the time.
Yes.
So that was
right.
after, yeah, I think that was the timeline of that. And that was, I think, after the first or second season of the OC. I can't remember, but it was right around then.
Yeah, yes. Because I remember I was on hold for the OC and I was sleeping at Zach's, and this was before, razor flip phones, remember?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I was on hold on the call sheet, and I went to bed. I checked my message. Nobody had called. I went to bed early. I woke up. There was like 17 messages. My manager was like, "Where the fuck are you?" The head of the studio just called me and was like, tell her to get her ass down to the, and they had called me and I missed the call. Gail Berman called my manager and was like, tell her to get her fucking, and I lived at Zach's in the Hollywood Hills, and you guys know you shot in Manhattan.
Yeah.
It was the first time that had ever happened to me. And I still remember that sick feeling.
Yes.
And it was, and I drove like a bat out of hell. And I remember I got there and everybody was like, kind of cool to me. They had to push one of my scenes with Peter later because I wasn't there. Meanwhile, Peter is, as you know, the loveliest, kindest man. And I kept apologizing like for hours. And he was like, it's okay. I don't think you guys were working that day. I think I had seen you. I remember seeing you, Rachel, like walk down the hallway, but that was my first time, not my last, unfortunately, but that was the first time that had ever happened to me. And the fear, because the show was like huge. I mean, the show was just a monster hit, right? And I was just lucky to be recurring. I'll never forget that day. I drove like a crazy lunatic from Hollywood Hills to Manhattan Beach as fast as I could.
I thought I'd heard quite a few stories. If you're late for set, no. I'm just saying in general, in Hollywood, if you're late for set, it goes to our UPM and the people on set. I've never heard of it going to the president of the studio. I didn't think that they were, there is something called a production report where they, list if people are late, how it's going on. But I didn't think that it went straight to the network head.
It did. I don't know. I don't think she was a big fan of mine. I don't think she liked me in general, but she called my manager at the time and was like, this is outrageous. And it was just, a complete accident. I remember it happened to Zach once when we were living together and the power went out in the hills and we got woken up to a PA, knocking on the window at like 9 a.m. But these things sometimes happen. It wasn't like I was other people that we've heard of, like late all the time. It was terrifying.
Yeah. That's the worst feeling in the world. But the fact that you were working with Peter, the funny thing is, I remember Peter Gallagher telling me, like year one, I would always apologize if I did something. He's like, never apologize. Like that was like, yeah, he taught me that. He's like, you never apologize. And I was like, okay, I still do. But he did try to teach me that,
I still do too. It's my Catholic upbringing, but he was so sweet to me. And I was, when you're a guest star and everyone is like BFFs and family and it's the first season and that energy, and I've been in the opposite end, receiving end, but you just feel so like, oh God, like I don't belong here. And it was, I'll never forget that. That was the very first time that happened to me.
Oh, you bring up an interesting point because, I've been a guest star. I've been a series regular. They're different skill sets. I've always thought that being a guest star is I'm a guest at somebody's party and I have to be on my best behavior. And in fact, it's a lot more challenging in a lot of ways to be a guest star. How did you find it on this show? Do you remember being cast? Do you remember, like you already expressed that already the show was a big deal by the time you were on it?
Yeah, it was like a juggernaut, right? Wasn't it like the first episode just was like massive?
Within the first month, it was. By a month in, we had some of our highest ratings, yes.
Yeah. I remember my audition. I remember getting the show and everyone was like, oh my God, that show's going to be huge. I remember, I felt really like being a guest star, it is a weird feeling when everyone is, especially when you're on a show like that, like Friends or like the OC, like, that have that massive energy. It is harder because you don't feel like you fit in and you want to be on your best behavior and everyone's like hanging out and cliquey and some people are dating and you're kind of just alone a lot in your room and you're happy to be there. But, I remember it was just huge. I also remember in the Fox offices, just all the photos of the OC. Remember there was just like a hallway of them. You guys were everywhere. What was that like for you guys? I don't even think that happens anymore because now we have cable. I think those days are kind of over, that huge network TV thing. I don't think that happens.
They put a lot into the marketing of the show. Yes.
It was everywhere.
Yeah.
And the song.
The music, yes. It was a big.
And the soundtrack. I remember I bought that. I bought the disc.
Did you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I bought it when we used to buy discs.
Yep.
But it was kind of like Zach's taste, Garden State. The OC had the best music and Garden Scrubs, that really amazingly
it was
curated soundtrack. But what was that like for you guys? I've never been on a show that's been a massive hit.
I think that we've discussed, right, that's more of the core four, the the kids had a lot of that attention, way more in a different level than what I experienced.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely one of those things where you don't know what to expect. And we kind of just went through it together. And I don't know, we worked so much that it wasn't like we had all this time outside of the bubble of the OC itself. So yeah, definitely being young. I guess I was 21 and just not expected. But we had each other, which was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that your first series regular, Rachel?
It was my first series.
First pilot?
First
series?
First pilot. First everything, I know, which is unheard of.
I always say, like, people that their first pilot goes to series, like, and then the rest, like, I've done, I don't know, probably 20, 22 pilots in my career. And like,
wow.
I've never, but there are those people that hit, that's the golden ticket. Like, you do one pilot and it goes, it's like, that's so.
I'm eternally grateful.
Rare.
Like I definitely am aware that is a rarity and super grateful and appreciative and all of it.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of shoes, but I can't do uncomfortable ones anymore. That's where Rothy's comes in.
What makes Rothy's so good? Their unique seamless design is insanely comfortable the moment you put them on. I have to be honest, I gave up wearing ballet flats like years ago because I could never find comfortable ones. They gave me blisters, my toes hurt, and I was really skeptical when I ordered a pair of Rothy's Mary Janes, but they are so comfortable and, well, maybe the most comfortable flat I have ever worn, and they're so cute. I really love them.
I can't do uncomfortable anything, and being a big fan of shoes, these really came to save me. I used to always wind up barefoot because I couldn't keep the shoes on, but I'm so appreciative of Rothy's and the comfort that they offer. We're not the only ones raving about them. Who What Wear says celebrities are far from immune from the draw of Rothy's wildly popular shoes. And Pop Sugar named Rothy's one of the most comfortable and cute flats you'll never tire of wearing.
To help you welcome summer in style, Rothy's is doing something special.
That's right. They gave us the chance to share this super rare opportunity with our listeners for a limited time. Through August 1st, 2021, you can get $20 off your first purchase of $100 or more at rothys.com/OC. That's ROTHYS.com/OC.
Trust us, you don't want to miss this. Head to rothys.com/OC to find your new favorites today. If you don't love your hair, then Function of Beauty is here to change that. Say bye-bye to your current hair care routine right now.
Function of Beauty is the world leader in customizable beauty, offering precise formulations for your hair's specific needs.
You simply take a quiz that tells them about your hair type and goals. I told them all about the condition of my hair and what I need. And then I chose this beautiful blue color and the fragrance called Perfection. And I named it the Coupe. It's really fun.
Function's team determines the perfect blend of ingredients, bottles your formula, and delivers it right to you. Because your hair changes with the season, you can change your hair goals before every shipment. I really am excited to change my scents, like what they smell like, because, I like to change it up sometimes. It's been so much fun personalizing your hair care routine.
Every ingredient Function of Beauty uses is vegan and cruelty-free, and they never use sulfates or parabens. You can also go completely silicone-free.
Beyond hair, Function of Beauty offers completely personalized formulas for body and skincare too. So you can customize your beauty routine from hair to toe.
Never buy off the shelf just to be disappointed ever again. Go to functionofbeauty.com/OC to take your quiz and save 20% on your first order. That applies to their full range of customized hair, skin, and body products.
Go to functionofbeauty.com/OC to let them know we sent you and to get 20% off your order. functionofbeauty.com/OC. Your character was not an easy character to play, I feel like, coming into this and the perfect couple, Sandy and Kirsten. And
I was definitely a little intimidated by that. Like, I was like, how do I, like, not consider myself sexy at all? Like, in that, like, I'm just not that person. And I remember it was like kind of the first job I got where I was, like, ooh, like, trying to be seductive. And that was so not me. I mean, even Friends, I was not seductive. It was, goofy. Like, it was just goofy. But Peter was so nice to me. Like, he made me feel so comfortable.
Aww. Yeah.
And then I saw him recently. I did Law and Order SVU, and he was like, Bonnie, how are you? You know, like sat down next to me on the plane, and he's just such a sweetheart. And then that Thanksgiving episode, that was a different episode. I think that was the only time I got to work with all of you at once. And I think they were going to try to set me up with Tate.
Yep. This episode made me think about, did you have fan reaction? Do you remember what people responded to? Did you, like on the streets, or were they just like, because your character coming on to Sandy, it was the first of a few times where Josh wrote this in. And I was curious if if there was ever a version written where Sandy acted on it. And I don't think it was. In fact, I think Josh has said he's regretted, like in the future, Rebecca Bloom comes in, or he's always trying to drive, your character's there to drive a wedge in between this relationship, which is a big theme in this particular episode. So I was curious if you had a lot of...
people hated me, definitely. Definitely got a lot of hate. But then I thought I was going to come back, and I remember they wanted to keep me as a regular, and, agents and managers and lawyers, as they do, they said, no, we have to pay her more. And my manager said, we're going to pass, thinking they would come back. And that was one of my biggest, oh no moment. Well, early on, we all have them.
Of course.
I was so pissed because the show was so great and was such a huge hit. But yeah, I listened to my team, and they were like, they'll come back. They'll come back. Because they didn't want to bump me up or something. Well, no, I'm not a money person. I'm the actress. It's like, I'll do anything for anything. And, people are like, no, you can't, you can't.
That's a tough one.
That's what I heard. And they said, well, we were going to have her back, but oh well. And I was so upset. I was like, why did you do that to me? But I think they were going to make me Tate's love interest. I don't think they intended me to actually get Sandy away.
Right. I'm going to read the synopsis of the episode that we are going to talk about, or we've been talking about, but we're going to talk about more. We're doing episode 10, The Perfect Couple. Kirsten worries about Sandy's professional relationship with Rachel. Rachel unsuccessfully tries to seduce Sandy. Marissa is excited that her family may get back together when Julie throws a charity event, yet Ryan spots Caleb and Julie together and lets Marissa know. Summer tells Seth how she feels, but then threatens him if he shares that info with anyone. Directed by Michael Fresco, written by Alan Heinberg. That is
There's so much going on in this episode, and there's so many little
episode.
There's so many scenes that I would love to comment on.
Oh yeah.
How did you feel watching this episode, Bonnie?
I just couldn't believe how young I was. I was like, what? It was like shocking. And the hairdos.
Oh yeah.
And like how we dress, it looks like a different. I'm like, what's with our hairdos? Lots of dudes.
I have notes.
Whenever I think of
hair.
you, whenever I think of you, Bonnie, I always remember for some reason, we were all in a scene, or maybe was it the Thanksgiving? But I remember the purple button down, the slacks. And I just remember your energy being just lovely. And just like you had this great aura, and everybody loved, the men especially, that they loved having you around. But we did too. I just remember you being funny and having just this great energy.
Thank you. I'm glad you remember me that way. Thank you. And you were really nice to me, Rachel, too. I remember that day.
Oh, really? Good.
You had a bunch of scenes in the kitchen, and you were very inclusive. And I remember that specifically. And Adam,
was a
don't
complete
think Benjamin
dick.
and
No,
Misha talked to me.
Ben didn't. No.
No, don't think they talked to me. But I remember you and Adam being super friendly and chatty, and
I remember
really
you being
nice
so nice and warm and friendly. So I remember the same.
Well, I remember in that episode, in the Thanksgiving episode, that Julie walks in with such a grind to axe, or axe to grind.
A grind to axe.
Yeah.
something about grinding. But which is so not me. There were times when it was actually very uncomfortable to play such, I guess, the villain or the evil, or to give the death stare. I remember Julie gives Rachel this intense death stare, which played for camera, but I always think that it's sometimes challenging to be that mean.
I think, did you do that too in that episode, The Perfect Couple, right? When you met with her dad? Was that episode? Because I watched
this episode.
Okay, I watched all of them again. So
Oh, did you? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We do that. We get confused sometimes.
It is confusing.
And
But
that actor was lovely too.
Alan Dale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caleb, he's really, that scene with you guys in this episode it's this episode, right? Where you're sitting at the table and going over negotiations.
Oh, yes. When you're negotiating
yes.
for the heights.
Yes.
No, he was the perfect casting. He's the perfect real estate mogul that represents Newport Beach. If there's any character that represents Newport Beach for me, it's Caleb Nickel, because that's what Newport Beach really, really is about.
I don't know anything about Newport Beach, but it definitely seems, equally like The Housewives, which I do watch,
which I think
that's all you need.
My guilty pleasure.
Josh created it from his point of view of Newport Beach, and then the Real Housewives said, "This is what it's really like," and it's probably more like, So I think Josh was right.
Yeah. Did you guys notice the opening of this episode? The panting was so intense, or was that just me?
From Marissa and Ryan? Yeah,
Marissa and Ryan. It's like intense panting, and because of the makeout. And I was like, wow, they really committed to the breathy makeout soundtrack.
I think they were having some fun. It was they were making out while Strange and Beautiful by
Aqualung
plays. Is that how you say it? I'm always saying those things wrong. But I think we have to enjoy those peaceful moments with Ryan and Marissa, because it never lasts. But and then at the end of this scene, Kirsten walks in on them, and it's so funny when Kelly plays these scenes, because it's so cute. And she's like, "Whoa, geez, that never happened with Seth. This is a first."
I was surprised by their scene in the kitchen with Sandy and Kirsten when they're like making out, and he's like, "You can start without me." I was like, "Oh, are we going there?" Like, I never realized that before, but I was like, okay.
I also don't think there have been characters or married couples portrayed like Sandy and Kirsten in the past. I'm sure they have been, but I just feel like in the OC, this couple, this married couple, this moral epicenter of the show, they made them funny, compassionate, and sexy, and it just didn't seem like it'd been done that much before this show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember when he says, when my character Rachel's like, "You're cheating on me with your wife," and he's like, "Trying." Like, it was like a couple that actually really liked each other, wanted to be around each other.
Yeah, a rarity, isn't it?
Especially juxtaposed to you and Tate. It was like,
right.
Aww.
I loved you two together so much. I think you had the best chemistry.
Yeah, me too. I was actually bummed. I was like Marissa watching this episode, like, they're not going to get back together.
Well, that brings up a good point. In that, as I had that as a fan, I had the same thought, like, Julie's with Caleb. And I remember thinking, and I love Ellen Dale. This has nothing to do with anyone personally, but I remember being personally disappointed that Jimmy and Julie weren't going to be together, because that meant I didn't get to do more scenes with Tate, which was so much fun, just his energy and being on set. But cinematically and from a storyline perspective, it's a great storyline that Julie gives up the man that she loves, which we don't know if she does or not, but we do. She does love Jimmy, and she goes off to be the survivor and be the gold digger. But have you guys ever had times where it's like, this is a difficult storyline to portray? Like, it's like being this character where you're going after Sandy.
Oh,
you
for
said
sure.
It makes it. Yeah.
I actually,
I was totally uncomfortable, especially, like when you're a guest star and you're not in your house, and you're like, you're going after someone and you don't know anybody. And it's like, that was like my first time doing that. It's very uncomfortable. It's hard. It's hard.
Didn't look hard. You did a really good job.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, when I stretch, I'm like, look at this belly.
I did. I commented. I wrote that on my notes. I was like, the old tummy stretch to show a little
the big old tummy. Yeah, the crop top action.
There was a moment where I thought, any man presented with that situation instantly has a picture of going there. And I think Peter clearly, he played it that he's thinking it and making a better choice. Although Rachel's actions they borderline on harassment.
I know. Could we make that show today? Could we?
Right.
Right?
He'd be like me too
Right.
at that point.
Right.
Like she showed me her body. I was uncomfortable.
There were dumplings.
I know. I remember eating Chinese on the floor too, like take after take after take.
Oh.
That was one. No, and that was, when you're early on and you don't say no and you don't say like, can I have a bucket?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I was like the actress that was committed to like, I have to eat this food.
Oh my
Oh.
God.
But you learn,
Now
you
I'm
learn,
like- now
you
I'd
learn
be
not
like,
to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of Chinese food, it's kind of funny earlier in the episode where Summer makes a comment that Chino doesn't even have a PF Chang's. Like, how could...
Oh yeah. That's what we said last night. We said that last night.
I was like, which was actually funny, but what did you write here, Mindy? Something about...
Well, so what happened was there was a lot of Chino talk, and the I guess whoever the council, the government, whoever the heads of the city of Chino were very upset in public or in an interview that they were concerned that because of our negative portrayal of Chino, that they were concerned that they weren't going to get their PF Chang's that was supposed to show up or be built. And Josh's humor was that he was going to have Summer's dialogue here. That was a way to, I don't know, to make fun of it.
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Josh, anything that people said about the show, he brought it in. And also that obviously the name of your law firm is Partridge Savage, which is Stephanie Savage and Con. And then your character is Rachel. So we don't know if that's
Related.
That's
After-
hilarious. Poor Chino.
I know.
But speaking of sex,
yes.
I thought this was such a cute. I thought this was such a cute scene with. I don't know if the word "cute" is right, but with when Seth is asking Ryan if he's had sex with Marissa, and then he says, "Well, you've had it, right?" And he's like, "With how many girls?" And I mean, literally, Seth his mind melts with the idea that he's had it multiple times with multiple people. Maybe you've gotten used to the work from home routine, but has your wardrobe adjusted? Stitch Fix can help you redefine your Zoom casual look.
Yes. Podcasting from my cloffice made me realize I could use some new things. And Stitch Fix helped me out. I was super excited to receive stuff from Stitch Fix because I always need options. I like to switch it up. And they sent me a super cute shirt, which I will be wearing on the podcast at some point.
Stitch Fix offers clothing hand-selected by expert stylists for your unique size, style, and budget. It's a completely different and fun way to find clothes that you will love to wear. Every piece is chosen for your fit and for your life, and it's the easy solution to finding what makes you look and feel your best. Not only are the items I received adorable, but they fit so well and are so comfortable. I actually have my new favorite pair of jeans on right now.
Try on pieces at home before you buy. Keep your favorites and send back the rest. Stitch Fix has free shipping, easy returns and exchanges, and a prepaid return envelope is included.
There's no subscription required. Try Stitch Fix once or set up automatic deliveries. You'll pay just a $20 styling fee for each box, which gets credited towards pieces you keep, and there are no hidden fees ever.
Get started today at stitchfix.com/theOC, and you'll get 25% off when you keep everything in your fix.
That's stitchfix.com/theOC for 25% off when you keep everything in your fix. Stitchfix.com/theOC.
Rewatching the OC and getting glued to the TV can work up an appetite. Well, Grubhub's got you covered. I love Grubhub. It has been my savior, especially for my daughter and I. There's nights I can't cook. Grubhub has come to my rescue.
Yes, definitely. Grubhub is so convenient when I'm busy and when I don't feel like cooking, or just for a movie night when I'm in my pajamas. And sometimes I get like a very serious craving for a favorite restaurant, and Grubhub delivers very fast.
Grubhub has a new campaign. We serve restaurants. Grubhub loves restaurants, from the food to the people behind them. They know that a restaurant's reputation matters, and they'll be damned if that reputation suffers because of them. It's a win for everyone.
Grubhub makes an effort to serve the restaurants so that they can serve you. Today, Grubhub's doing a little extra to serve Panera. Get a free delivery perk on your first order from Panera of $15 or more.
Order through the Grubhub app or online. Grubhub, we serve restaurants. How did you guys feel this episode with Anna and Seth and Summer? Like, did you feel like you were leaning more towards an Anna-Seth situation or a Seth and Summer situation? Any thoughts on that?
I think what's interesting is, as an adult watching it,
Mm-hmm.
Seth seems kind of like, I don't know, what's the word? It's like, I don't want to say moronic.
Sure, that works.
But he doesn't get that Anna likes
Yeah,
him.
he's very naive.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Right.
I thought
But
Anna was pretty mean when she was making fun of Summer. She was mean.
I thought maybe Summer actually is in on it. Yeah, still not tracking. Like,
I was wondering. I don't know if she
You don't-
actually knew she was being made fun. I know she had to have. I mean, it was so obvious. But Anna was mean. I'm sorry. I know I like push her
Yeah,
on my
she
way
was
out, but she
mean.
was mean right there.
Mhm.
I was like, that was not nice. I have to tell you guys something funny. So the guy, I'm like, I'm going to the party with Chip, that guy who played Chip in the
mhm.
episode. One of my best friends, Leah, slept with him. And I was like, I was watching it and I text her. I'm like, Leah, we refer to him as the brick, but she was like, did you sleep with the brick? She's like, ugh, yes.
The brick.
Who plays Chip?
Does she always name her?
Yeah, they all have nicknames. They all have
encountered-
nicknames until you like them, and then they get real names. Their real names
Okay.
come into play.
Oh, that's funny. I like that.
There's a few other people I know she hooked up with.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, yes. Leah was also there for the capture of the flag and Peter Gallagher's house that year. Anyways, and yes, there are other people she had hooked up with. But moving right along.
Ooh.
I
Salacious.
just wanted to point out when
Yes.
the four of you were at school and Seth hypes up Ryan's date to Marissa. This is a pretty famous blooper where he says, Summer, may I walk you to class? And he kept saying, Rachel, may I walk you to class?
He
Rachel,
did?
may I walk you to class? Yeah. And he said it like 4 times and he just couldn't, I think you guys were dating by this point. Yes.
Were we?
Did you guys start dating right away?
No, but during
On
the
the
first
show?
season for sure. I just don't know when it was. I like that you know, Mindy. I trust that you remember better than I do.
Is that the only real life couple that was on the show the whole time?
Couple?
Did anyone else date?
I don't know if there was like any hookups within guest
actors?
stars, actors, whatnot. We were.
That
I
was
guess
the
we were the
only
only
real
couple, right?
official couple.
Yeah, we were the official couple of the OC. I guess we dated for 3.5 years.
You guys will always be the couple of the OC. I mean, you guys were like, it was just like you and I mean, you guys were the couple.
Aw,
Like,
it was fun watching this for Seth and Summer. And the first time, I think this is the first time Summer. No, it's not the first time she kisses Seth. I wrote this is the first time I kiss him, but I had kissed him when he said the squirrel poem, right, Mindy?
Yes.
Right. The mermaid poem. Yeah, that was the first time. Okay, anyway. But it was
Oh.
funny that I kiss him here and then I'm like threatening to kill him after. That's true romance, isn't it?
yeah, it's real.
Okay. Well, I think we should definitely talk about the scene, Bonnie, where you do seduce Stan. I mean, you were so committed. I'm watching it and I'm watching you like crawl towards him. And I was like, how could any guy say no to this? Like this. How did you feel watching it?
Mortified.
Mortified.
I remember being really nervous like that day. But yeah, I was like, oh God, yeah, I really put the moves. I mean, I was totally committed to crawling across and that close up stare. But I remember I was like so uncomfortable doing it.
That is, but you pulled it off
Well, thanks.
quite well. I have to
I do
say.
remember sitting there eating those dumplings. I remember it was at night and Peter was so nice and funny and like just made me so comfortable because that was like only, like my 3rd or 4th job ever.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we were just laughing. We just got, we hit it off. I mean, I'm from Brooklyn, he's, New York. Like, so we were just laughing and it made me feel, okay. Because when you do that with someone who's an asshole, when you're acting with someone like that you can't stand and you have to do that stuff, there's nothing worse.
Right.
Pretending
Yeah.
to like somebody. Oh my
Oof.
God.
Yes.
Acting with Peter was always so much fun.
He's
There was
so
something.
yeah.
Yeah. he definitely, there's actors that you can feel their presence, look them directly in the eye, and there's an absolute joy in the process of that tennis game that you're playing, and you're right there, that focus.
Yeah. Tate's like that too. Just such a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, that you feel comfortable with. But yeah, I remember the crew standing around, and I just had never done anything like that before. And I remember telling myself, like, Bonnie, it's not like it's a sex scene. Like, relax. Like, you don't even have to do anything. But I just remember being so nervous.
Don't you feel like it's even harder because you're just coming on to somebody and they don't reciprocate? I feel like that's harder than a sex scene, because at least a sex scene, you're going to kiss, you're going to make out, you're going to do whatever. But like having to come on to someone and, I don't know, and not be reciprocated, I feel like that would be harder for me.
I haven't had many sex scenes in my career, luckily.
You've never done a sex scene?
I've done like the end, camera opens on the after part.
Yeah.
The afterglow
right.
part. And I've kissed. No.
The most graphic one I ever did, ironically, was with Zach Braff in Last Kiss.
I remember.
Oh,
I was still in the anger dumped for the movie phase of that, and I remember watching that, being like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
I've never had to do that.
No, wow.
I honestly, and I remember on Heels, they had just finished a closed set sex scene before my scene, and they were joking about it. And the girl that plays Alex's love interest, they're like brother and sister, and they're joking about like, this farting and whatever. And you had an onion. And I was like, I've never had to do that in all these years, 25 years of acting.
Wow. Mindy, what was your craziest sex scene?
Oh, here I am going, yeah. I almost quit acting because of one that I did.
Ooh.
Really?
Yeah, it was so uncomfortable because it was in 90, 93. And it was, it was just a scene where I was topless, and the camera just kind of pans back or something. But all of a sudden, every single crew member and Teamster, everybody was on set. and the men they were actually saying, "What's the big deal? Why can't I be on set?" And because I asked for closed set. But on the OC, it was fun to kind of, they're always uncomfortable, but then when you're actually friends with somebody, you're like, it was fun to do it with Tate, you know? Or, but yes, it can be, Julie kissed quite a few people. She, but yeah, I think there's something, it takes out it's intimate, but I think because, I don't know, we, as thespians, we have to be brave, and we're in it together, and let's just make this work. And there's nothing sexy about it, but sometimes you have to actually act, and it's, when the method thing doesn't always come into it when you're being intimate,
Yeah. Listen, I'm open to it. Bring it on, universe. Let's go. While I still got it.
You're putting it out there.
Let's manifest it. But kissing is hard. Yeah, I think kissing on camera is harder.
There's like the no tongue in TV thing.
Yeah, there should be. I had an actor once put his tongue in my mouth immediately, and I said, cut. And I was like, don't ever fucking do that again, dude. And this was a show that I was one of the leads on. It was so much tongue. I was like, I said, you'd never ever do that. You're supposed to ask somebody, like, don't ever do that. And he was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, you should be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he literally was like, it was all tongue, no lips.
No tongue in television. Like no crying in baseball.
Like, what, do you not know that? What do you knew? What do you knew?
If you think about the old black and whites, it was always just lip to lip, and it wasn't a lot of movement. But yes.
I love you, darling.
Lip to lip, or with a lot of movement, but the lips just stayed.
Like soap kissing.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, I do want to bring up something else that's going on in this episode. Yeah. I was going to talk about Julie popping back up, and when Kirsten comes in and she's there with Caleb, and she's just all of a sudden, first of all, she's in this preppy outfit that I don't think I've ever seen her repeat again, but it was this almost this, now she's presenting herself as a good girl, and she's reformed and she's changed. And little do we know that her version of making everything better is not what Marissa would like it to be. But I do want to tell you that this scene where we, in Caleb's office with Julie and Kirsten, it jogged a memory for me. we were shooting, and it was the Newport group before we shot at a different place, but it was a house like up in Agoura Hills or somewhere in the Santa Monica Mountains. But while in the middle of shooting, I was speaking to our producer, Lucas George, and I was talking about the fact about us becoming series regulars. Somehow the conversation came up and he said, "Don't worry, it's happening." And it was on that day of shooting.
Really?
I was told that that's when we were going to become series regulars.
Oh, so
Just
it wasn't,
you know.
it wasn't last minute right after the first season? Interesting.
No, it wasn't like that. In fact, it was right after the pilot got picked up, but they had to pause. Unlike what some people think. But anyway.
So, Mindy, you get caught that you are now hooking up with Caleb. Ryan sees you. When you look up and you notice Ryan see you guys, I was like, oh shit, here we go. Julie Cooper.
That was one of those moments, yeah, that I think the audience was, oh no, just when she's, we like this Julie. She's been so nice and kind. And then all of a sudden Ryan does that, look down to the Cooper house and sees that. And it's just that, ooh, there's the evil housewife. I had some fan questions, and one of the fan questions was they were curious about where the OC, the actual set of the house was.
Mm-hmm.
And the original was a real house in Malibu. The Cohen house was up to the right. The Cooper house was slightly down to the left. But on set, the Cooper house was the same set as the Cohen house, just redressed in the front. So, essentially, every scene that you see Marissa at her house or Julie at the house, at our house, it's the Cohen house just redressed with a different angle. People were asking about that.
I remember those sets so clearly. For some reason, vividly in my mind, I remember those sets.
Mm-hmm.
Just I don't know why. Like the restaurant where Kirsten meets me, and where we're having. It's so vivid in my brain, those sets and the houses.
Interesting. Someone also asked if the set about the yacht. We were actually on a yacht in Marina Del Rey. Do you remember? Wasn't it Marina Del Rey, Mindy?
It was Marina Del Rey.
But we were actually on a boat.
It was a parked boat, and somebody else asked if we did the interiors on the boat. We did everything you saw on the boat was on an actual yacht.
Wow.
And
I remember my hairdo was really crunchy. I remember it was like last minute, and someone stepped in instead of the normal person doing my hair, and they threw it up. And I've never had so much hairspray on my head in my life. It was very crunchy. You could.
I thought you were
crisp it off.
adorable.
Well, thanks.
That was such a cute dress.
What was it? Oh, the polka dot. And then Misha's Missoni dress. I was like, oh, okay. Okay, Missoni.
I wrote that down. I said, ooh, this is a famous dress, Missoni. I'm so glad that I got that right.
You did get that right. Good job.
But then when Anna shows up for the party and she's got those ball earrings.
That was
and they were
improv, wasn't
swinging.
it? Wasn't that an improv?
I think
where she takes them
that
off?
when she gets to the I think it got distracting, and I think the director decided to have her take them off as she walks onto the yacht. This is one of my favorite Shailene Woodley scenes where she, this is Ryan, and she does that, "Hello, Ryan." This is like the fifth time I've quoted it because her delivery is amazing. Oh, Caitlin doesn't trust new people. But Brian is very trustworthy. I mean, Julie really is so manipulative and calculating in this whole thing. And it broke my heart as a mom to hear after Julie says, "Marissa," and I do this voice that I noticed that I chose to have this like voice. "It's going to be better, and I'm changed, and it's going to be okay." And she's so gullible, and she's so wants her family to go back to being normal. And like I said before, little does she know what she has in what she has in store. That Julie's idea of normal is living with the billionaire Caleb or millionaire, whatever he is. And Julie just doesn't get it. It's really sad. And so she's so excited that this could that her mom's changed and just a little girl wanting that. And Julie just doesn't see it. And she doesn't get it until after Marissa dies. Jeez.
Oh, yeah. You know what? You know what I was so sad about? So, they're on the yacht, and then Ryan tells Marissa about you and Caleb. And when she outs you in front of everybody, my first go-to thought was, Caitlin's right there. Don't say this in front of Caitlin, like the little girl, you know, the mom and me. Bonnie, I have a 6-year-old, so everything for me now is like, oh, like mom brain. And that was like, I was like, you can't do that in front of her younger child. You know, I got mad at Marissa for not having the wherewithal to like think about that. That was my takeaway.
I felt so disappointed in Julie at that moment and felt so bad for Marissa. It was a pretty powerful thing. And because Marissa really can be very fragile and vulnerable, but this time she was super brave and just stuck it to her mom. And that, oh, fuck moment of, and then how, and Jimmy's response of, wow, you're Caleb's problem now is just really hit me hard as a fan.
Right.
Julie just bounces right back.
Yeah.
She figures it out. But,
I know we keep watching this, Bonnie, and I'm watching it as an audience, you know, and I'm like hating Summer in most of the episodes and, you know, just like really getting drawn in. And
I know it's wild to watch it so much later and like be detached now and see it. And, you know, me too. I was watching them. I was like, I don't remember any of this stuff. You know what I mean? Like all the character stuff. But it's got to be wild for you guys to see it like from this angle now.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, one other thing I wanted to bring up was at the end of this episode, the panting again arrives and you don't know who it is. You pan up and you see the wife beater. Are we allowed to call it a wife beater now? Still, what do you call that? I don't know.
The tank top?
The white tank top that used to be
wife
referred
beater,
to something that you probably can't refer to it as now. And they're like, oh, it's Ryan. It's Ryan and Marissa. Sorry, the panting at the beginning, the panting at the end, and then the slow reveal of the wife beater.
A lot of panting.
There's a lot of panting this episode. A lot of sexual tension, a lot of stuff going on. And again, Bonnie, you were incredible as Rachel, and you took on such a hard role. And you played it so beautifully, and everyone, of course, was rooting against you, which was the intention. And it was just so fun watching it again and just watching you create Rachel.
Thank you. Maybe they'll do an OC movie because now that's what everyone's doing.
Like a little movie to explore.
Yeah, like a movie of the week, like a 2-hour.
Yeah.
I mean, what is not being remade right now? Is there any original stuff?
I know.
Because it's hard to even, I mean, everything is getting remade.
It's true. It's true. Bonnie, would you be up for some quiz questions?
Sure. I don't know how good I'll be, but okay.
What are Summer's 3 favorite activities?
Shopping.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
You could probably just like take guesses of like, you know, the most
shopping PF Chang's, going to Chino Mall.
That was close enough. Shopping, it was definitely one of them. The other 2.
What else?
Tanning and waxing.
Waxing? Whose favorite activity is waxing?
Waxing. Well, you know, I'm a
Seth
fan.
says.
I'm a fan of
That's hell.
It's not anyone's favorite activity. It's very painful, but you know, shopping, tanning, and waxing. That is Summer's 3 favorite activities.
That's good.
She's very deep, very deep. And Anna points that out in this episode. You know what? I'm mad at Anna.
What celebrity did Marissa and Julie see when they bought Marissa's Missoni dress she wears in this episode?
Tori Spelling. I don't know. I don't remember who. Hint.
She has 3 names.
Oh, Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Catherine
She does
Zeta-Jones.
have 3 names.
Oh, okay. I have the worst memory, by the way.
Oh, please. You're preaching to the choir here. Where did Rachel Hoffman go to college?
NYU?
No.
NYU?
West Coast.
Oh, Stanford.
Same as Sandy.
I forget where that was.
Oh.
USC?
Hippie school up north.
Berkeley.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, my brain. People sometimes ask me people I've worked with and names, and I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, don't
I don't know
worry.
where it's shot. I don't know what network it was.
Yeah, don't worry. I don't even remember this show. People ask me scenes I'm in, and I have no idea that
It's
I was
just
in
too
them.
hard when you do a million things to remember. But some people remember every single detail. Like they'll remember directors, producers,
Yeah.
costume designer names, and I feel bad. Like I'm like, someone will say, "Didn't so and so do wardrobe on that?" And I'm like, I don't know.
I remember more from the OC and less from recent things for some reason.
Interesting.
Well, maybe because that was such a long, I don't know, especially when you do a lot of guest stars, there's no way I remember. I couldn't tell you anybody.
If you'll stay on, Bonnie, we have some questions from some fans and some voicemails to listen to.
I have a question for Bonnie. How did it feel to be the woman that was trying to break up everybody's favorite TV couple? And in conjunction with that, how did the fans react to you when they would see you, out and about? Did people give you a lot of hate for your role on the OC? And what was that like?
Well, yeah, like I said, it felt really awkward and uncomfortable because I had never done anything like that before. And I just was, the show was so huge and I was super nervous. So that felt uncomfortable. And yes, I do remember getting some hate. And I remember like reading about it, just fan stuff about what a complete asshole I was. And then someone asked me in the grocery store about it. Somebody was like, "Are you really going to break them up?" And I was like, I'm they're not really together, like in real life, like they're actors. But it was such a huge show and the fan reaction was immediate, like, cause it was just so big, and that I didn't expect. I didn't expect all that. But yeah, I'm a nice person. I don't want to break up people.
Hey guys, Corey from Australia here, loving the podcast. And Bonnie, just a quick question for you. You've been in some of my favorite TV shows like The OC, Friends, and Grosse Point. But just wanted to know, out of everything that you've done, what do you get recognized the most for?
Good day. How are you? I can't do that accent. Sorry, that was pathetic. Yeah, it's Friends. It's crazy. I always joke like I could win an Oscar someday and nobody would care. They'd be like, "You're Mona," which is weird because I look so different. That haircut was like pretty iconic at the time. Like it was just, I think it's just because that show was ridiculous. Although I did get recognized when I was working once, and this girl came over and was like, "Oh my God, I love you so much. Can I get your autograph?" And I was like, "Yeah, Friends." And she was like, "No, the Hallmark movies. I love all of your Christmas movies. I'm such a fan." She had no idea about anything else I'd ever done, and she wanted like a picture because of the Hallmark movies. And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." But yeah, it's Friends, number one.
But you, Grosse Point,
Yeah.
Was it only one season?
It was
But
only
it
one.
sounded like it was based on Darren Starr's experience of writing on 90210, correct?
Yeah, it was a spoof. We were all those girls. I was the Jenny Garth. Lindsay Sloan was Tori. Like, it was the best show. It was like my first pilot ever that got picked up. And it was so brilliant and way too ahead of its time. And it was like Gary Shandling, Curb. It was a show within a show. And it just was too early. Honestly, like none of us are ever going to be over that cancellation. I mean, I've gone back and watched it recently and it's so funny.
I want to watch it.
It's so funny. But yeah, we were on the WB after Sabrina the Teenage Witch on Friday nights. Like it should have been on HBO. I mean, it was just, actors making fun of actors. So
that's fun.
Darren Star. Yeah, it was awesome. Such a good show.
Hi, my name is Alyssa. I am from Columbus, Ohio. Been a fan since the beginning of the series. Really love what you're doing with the podcast. My question for Bonnie would be, who of the cast do you wish you had gotten a chance to work with at all or more of?
Honestly, everybody. I mean, I only, that day that I remembered the Thanksgiving episode, I loved hanging out with everybody. I would have loved to have done scenes with these ladies and Tate, who I love. Yeah, I just loved being on set that day. Like the vibe was so fun. The energy was so chaotic. And I was like, I don't want to go. You know, when you're a guest star, you know, you have that feeling like, I want to hang out with the cool kids. But I really, I would have loved to have done scenes with you guys, and definitely Tate, 100%. And Kirsten was lovely to me. I remember we talked a lot about marriage, and I think at the time, you know, she was going through stuff and I was going through stuff, and I would have liked to have done more scenes with her.
Do you think it was right for Marissa to out her mum on the yacht? And how would you deal with it if your daughter did something similar to you in public?
Zoinks, Scoobs. I don't know. It's hard to say if anything's right or wrong. I don't think there's any true right or wrong in any situation. Julie took it like a champ. You know, she bounced back. I think I would have crumbled and started going, but, no. I don't know. I probably wouldn't have handled it that well. But yes, Julie, I think at the time, I tended to have a point of view that really supported Julie. But as a fan, I'm rooting for Marissa.
She shouldn't have done it in front of her little sister.
Yes, that may have been a little bit
sticking
harsh,
to it. This has been a great episode, Bonnie. We are so thrilled that you joined us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I can't.
It's nice to go back and watch all that stuff now.
Yeah, it is. It's fun to watch it. Yeah, like you said.
Yeah, you guys should be proud. Like you're part of this huge, iconic show. So I was happy to be. People always say, when they say that to me, you've been part of some of the biggest shows on television, The OC, NYPD Blue, and Friends. They always say that. And I'm always like, yeah, I am. Proud. But thank you for having me.
Follow, rate, and review Welcome to the OC Bitches wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you like to watch us, check it out on YouTube. Welcome to the OC Bitches.